that aren't here. Okay. Share mode. And okay, so one of the first things that I really wanted to talk about, oh wait, I think I skipped a slide. Let's go back. Yeah, here we go. Oh, my promo code. So Johanna could not make it tonight, but she's here in spirit. But Johanna has this crystal shop that she's posting a lot on. Usually she posts through Instagram. It's called Lustrous Aura. So you can follow the lustrous.aura, which will show a lot of details about, any promotions or sales that she has going on with her crystals. But then if you want to actually browse her shop, she has the links that will direct you to her website. And as you can see on the bottom left, there's like just stunning, original curated crystals that she just finds and has delivered to her locally. So if you purchase from her, she's local, meaning Bay Area local. I know Erin's actually up in Portland, so it's not super local, but that's what's really great about her is like she's providing for our area. And then I have a promo code with her. It's Crystal P, P like Peter, and then 20, which will help you save 20% off your entire purchase from her. So as long as it's not like sale items already, this will give you 20% off your purchase. So, hey, my first promo code. Like, it feels so cool to be like, oh, I'm collabing with this like awesome company. But it's like I watch all these YouTube stars, and they're like, I have a promo code with Sephora and you can get like 30% off. And now I get to be like that person. So I'm really excited. It ends though October 31st. So sorry, I forgot to mention this sooner. I've been posting it on Instagram, but hurry. Okay, the next thing I really want to talk about is space. Guys, I have been obsessing over this yoga. This is okay, so this is my girlfriend from way back in the day when I used to do MMA. There was this cute little back room that nobody was using in the gym. Finally, the gym owner was like, okay, we'll put something different in here. And it was yoga. And it was so funny because everybody was saying, oh, you're cheating us if you go and take a yoga class. But I was like, I feel better if I go and take yoga at least one time, and then I can come and kick your butt in MMA class again. And this was the chick who was teaching. This was like 5-7 years ago. I don't even know how long it's been. I'm just guessing between 5 and 7 years. So now she's got her own virtual yoga practice. She and about 3 other teachers. She's the only female actually in the group. She puts out her sessions every Tuesday and they are amazing. I mean, when I say amazing, like the music is fire, the flow is fire, and there's a part in the middle for us dancers. I know we got a couple dancers in this group. She does this cute little section right smack dab in the middle of the yoga flow where we're moving with the music, and you can see her like grooving and you're like, oh, okay, she can move. And then we get right back into a flow and you finish it out, and it's enough. It's like literally a little bit of everything in your yoga flow, 55 minutes. And honestly, right now, I don't even know how much it costs because she's kind of allowing people to take it free at the moment. So unfortunately, I have no idea what the price is, and I don't know what it's going to be, but check it out. It's www.thespacelife.com. The bottom right picture here, it shows you what her yoga studio looks like. She's got all these beautiful lights at the top that twinkle and change color with the music. Okay, it's such an amazing experience. I can't even. All right, moving on. Too bad she's not here today, or yet. She's coming later. This is my girl, Kayla Shabri. She is fire. She teaches sassy hip hop. And as you can see on the right, it's sassyhiphopwithchabri.com. $10 classes, Monday nights at 7 p.m. The thing about Kayla is, so her accolades are, there's so many things I could say about her. There's a fat list, but she is, she was a professional dancer with the 49ers. I believe it was the 49ers. Yeah. And then she went on to be a teacher, and now she's an intuitive teacher. She would never tell you this. She's super humble about herself, but she actually curates her dance and her choreography with the body, like with the chakra zones. And like usually when I take her class, I'm over here like, dang, I feel like my solar plexus is just bursting open, or that really helped my, you know, my hips, my sacral. And she just does, there's something about her choreography that is amazing. If you guys have the time, 7 p.m. She teaches it really, really well too for beginners, if you guys ever want. But love this girl. Just follow, or at least follow her, just so you can take a quick peek. Her Instagram is Sassy Hip Hop with Chabri. She is fire. She obviously goes full out, and so it looks harder than it is. But when she teaches it, she breaks it down so it's like beginner friendly or advanced. So definitely, definitely take this class if you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, be in flow with your body. And then I have my Akashic reading promo still going on until the 25th. I started it like the 25th of last month, and so it ends, my promo ends on the 25th of this month. But this is like the get one, it's a referral program. So if you refer a friend and they get an Akashic reading, then you as the referee get a free reading. So you just have to tell me, oh, this was my friend that got a reading from you, and then you get a free reading. So, and you know, and that can go any kind of way that you want. Like you can ask a friend to get the reading, and then you split it 50-50, and then that way you both get like a discount on the reading. I don't really care what you guys want to do. But anyway, I just really wanted to do this, especially for those who have been referring friends. There's been a lot of people who've been going like, "Ooh, you need to check Crystal out," and I'm just so grateful. So I created this for them. And finally, the last of my announcements, the next moon is going to be a full moon again in October. So it's going to be on Halloween on the 31st. It's going to be so dope. It's going to wrap everything up together in a nice little package. And I really want to do like a kind of just like a divination based Halloween moon ritual thing. I don't really want to hyper focus on the astral transits like I like to do. Like today, I'm going to talk about a lot of different planetary transits and things. I kind of just want to focus on the nitty gritty and do like just go straight to a tarot reading. And then I want to just like talk about things we're thinking about releasing. You know what I'm saying? I just really want to do something just juicy for like Halloween, especially if all of us who are planning on staying inside, you know what I'm saying, not going to go out and social distance party on Halloween or whatever, because it's the veil is thin. So that means there's going to be a lot of energy and spirits floating about. And if you're drinking on Halloween, you know what I'm saying, like there's a lot going on. So if you guys want to stay home and do a cute little like session with me, I'm having it and you can join me. All right. So the 31st, probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 p.m. like today, probably. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. We'll see how we feel. All right. Let's go into it. Let's get into this, guys. It's time for a clean slate. So the new moon is basically saying, gather your thoughts and plan. It's not really a moon that's talking about closures. It's more so about getting kind of like a perspective on everything that's going on, especially from the last new moon, looking at like the last intent, just the intentions you've been making for yourself, and looking at that, observing that, kind of maybe redoing them if you need to, setting new goals and intentions for yourself. So as you can see on the left, here's kind of like October's overview. We've already done the full moon on the 1st. We had Venus go into Virgo. We had Pluto go direct. We had Mars square Pluto. We had Mercury retrograde. We had a lot of business already this month on top of all the things that were already going on. And now we're up to the new moon in Libra going into Scorpio. And soon the sun will be in Scorpio. So right now we're kind of having like the moon getting into Scorpio, and then the sun will be in Scorpio. So what the new moon in Libra is talking about, though, we'll start here, is it's talking about new beginnings, which is the new moon aspect itself. And then it's also saying it take the time to create positive change for your life. Like just take the time to start jotting the things down that you really want to have happen. You know, what's not working, what it will break down, or what do you foresee breaking down, or what needs to break down. Just to allow more breakthroughs to happen. And then also to like shifting out of old patterns. That way you can welcome in the new that's trying to come in. But it's also to like believing in yourself and believing in the next phases, even though we don't really fully know what's coming. It's like, I don't know if anybody else is feeling this way, but it's like we know change is here, but we don't know what. It's like the okay, well, if I release this, what am I gonna get? It's like, what am I making space for? It's kind of like the feeling and the vibes. So today's message, especially one of these groups, I kind of took a glance at the cards. One of these groups is also kind of like having a little bit of these fears and anxieties, like, okay, I know I need to release, but if I release, then am I guaranteed that I'm going to get, you know, something better coming in? Cause like, I don't see it, you know, not yet. So anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So hopefully you guys are going to feel you know, just a little bit more confident leaving today's session, and more about the moon. So for example, this little thing I got off Instagram on the left is talking about the moon and the sun are conjunct, which means they're right next to each other. Actually, what's happening is the sun is like right behind the moon. They're like lining up. And so what happens is the moon goes dark. That's why it's a new moon, because what it needs to kind of do this thing called like rest. And that's why when the moon orbits, goes around the earth, and then the sun shines on it, it becomes a full moon. Like it just keeps going into these cycles. So that way we can take the time to set intentions and then release, set intentions, release. You know, it's like a cycle. So it's an excellent time for creating more peace, more harmony, especially with relationships. Libra is mainly about, it's kind of like three things. Libra is about relationships, balance, because it's the scales, and then harvest, because Libra is actually the beginning of the harvest season, because it's the fall. It's like Libra season, we know, oh, okay, fall's about to come. So with relationships, with this aspect, it's talking about taking a look at what it is that we want, you know, for healthy relationships. You know, sometimes it means that the past is going to come up. So maybe past relationships, and it kind of forces us to look at what wasn't working before, so we can set the intention of what's going to be the best outcome, the healthiest outcome. What I was writing was like the most high vibrational relationships I could possibly have. So it's talking about that. You know, healthy relationships. And then with the balance, you know, that could be anything. Again, it could be like balance between your spiritual side and your you know, just your earthy side, the things that you do in the matrix, and you walk about the earth, and but you're also trying to, you know, get some time for yourself and build your spiritual grow your spiritual aspects. Or it could be balance between home and work, or it could be a balance between everything else and a relationship, right? That's like double Libra energy right there, because the relationship. So whatever the balance is for you, it's talking about that. Look at what it is, you know, that you're kind of dealing with and facing, and start writing down what it is that you guys want to see for yourself. And harvest is all about the time when we need to gather everything we've been growing, that we've been putting energy into, because it's about to be the winter season, right? So that's when we're really going to want to see things just kind of play out. Harvest is saying, okay, what is it specifically that you really want to make sure that you're going to put all your time and energy into? Like, really think about that. And again, this could be anything. It could be the kinds of relationships that you're investing in. It could be, and the relationships could be family, the friends, you know what I'm saying? The coworker relationships, could be the romantic relationships, could be anything. And then yeah, talk about reflecting on this to help you through this period. It's all about the eagle eye perspective of it all. Just, it's like, pull back a little to take a good look. Then we have Scorpio. The Scorpio moon, like I said, it's already it's already off course. The moon went off course from Libra starting at 3 p.m. and it's going to be in Scorpio by 10 p.m. our time. So the new moon in Scorpio, even though this says 2019, it's because, like I said, people aren't recognizing that it's going to be Scorpio by tonight, like tonight night. So I had to use this one because it was the same message actually. And I thought, oh, that's kind of perfect. So October of last year, it's kind of similar energy. It's still going to be intense. It's going to be deep introspection, release as well. The reason why things are coming up is because we have to look at what it is we need to release. Like, that's the only reason why this happens. It's also, it's not a light new moon. It is a super new moon, I should say. I should change that. It's not a micro new moon. It's a super new moon. So it does mean that things are going to be a little bit more aggressive, more emotional, and with it kind of going between the Libra and Scorpio, it's actually it's kind of along the same lines, reflecting, analyzing, being introspective, and then going, okay, what do I need to release? What needs to end with the Scorpio energy? What needs to end? What do I need to rebirth, renew? It's like all so perfectly aligned. It really is. So here's the meaning of a super moon. This is just the super moon aspect in general. A new moon or a full moon can be a super moon. So this is when you have the moon closer to Earth. So it's known as the perigee. So it's actually, this moon is 99% perigee. So it's kind of talking about the fact that we're probably going to be feeling these emotional aspects a bit more intensely. This could be anything from feeling like you're just emotional and, you're just emotional in general, or you might struggle with concentration, which I have been so bad. Today, I was trying to get these slides together, and every 5 minutes, I wanted to do something else. I was like, I had really bad ADD or something, and I was over here, I think I should get a snack, or I think I should check my phone. I just, for the life of me, could not finish these slides. And I knew I needed to for today. I'm like, girl, it's today. You need to stop. But, it's just, there's just moon energy. And then the other one too could also be the decisions that we have to make. It can just feel really intense and magnified and make you feel emotional about the decisions that we have to make. So just keep that in mind. It's totally normal. And it's exactly what everyone's going through, not just you, if you are. So the next slide I really wanted to show you is kind of like what it looks like when I try to figure out the aspects of everything. I feel like I put it in the wrong spot. I feel like I wanted it after I talked about some things, but this is fine. So if any of you are able to watch, what I was trying to like pinpoint, this is like the circle of life. Let's just call it that. And each little box here is like the houses. So we got house 1 down here on the bottom left, which is actually starts with Aries, and then 2, 3, 4, just like this. So these are the houses. And then where you can see the moon is going to be actually here. What it looks like is in Scorpio though, but it's kind of between, that's the sign of Libra and this is the sign of Scorpio. So it is kind of in between, which is why I've been saying that. Technically it starts in Libra, ends up in Scorpio by 10 p.m. tonight. And right next to it is the sun. So when you got the sun right next to the moon, like I was saying, it's known as it being conjunct. So it's asking you to internalize, like reflect, be introspective. So anytime you see, on a chart like this, the symbols like right on each other's ass, it means they're conjunct and it's time to like just look at the aspects of this. Like, okay, instead of looking at it as a negative thing, look at it as like, all right, here's my opportunity to kind of clean this up a little, clear up this energy, or you know what I mean? Clean it up so it fits you and the direction you want to go in. As you can see over here in Capricorn, leading into Aquarius, like we're about to get into this Aquarius, season, but like you got Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto all up in Capricorn, just causing all types of trouble. This is the reason why we're all sitting here like, why are things crazy right now? This is kind of the biggest reason why. The other reason is literally directly across from our sun and moon being conjunct is Chiron in it's retrograde. So Chiron is known as the wounded healer. It's actually a comet. It's not a planet, but the wounded healer is the aspect of us that really wants us to learn from our lessons, learn from the hardships. And so the fact that it's in retrograde is also kind of causing some trouble with us. And it's in Aries. So again, it's also like this fire sign. It's just like creating this energy within us. Some of us might be actually feeling like, dang, I know I need to get rid of stuff. But I'm kind of feeling stuck almost. And I think it's because it's in retrograde, but I've been feeling this way. I don't know if anybody else has, but it's definitely talking about how if you feel inside, you're like, I'm ready to release. Like, just let me, spirit, quit playing games. Let me let go of all this. But it's kind of telling you it reminds me of the Hanged Man, if you guys are into tarot, and where the Hanged Man is kind of telling you to just pause, be in flow, try not to be controlling when I know it's real hard because I done put Chiron in Aries. I know it's really hard not to be controlling, but I need you to try. That's kind of what's happening. But if I go back into it, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about with, like I said, you got Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all conjunct inside Capricorn. This is basically like this big alignment that's been happening all year long, that's been messing with our government system, our political system, our personal lives. This is the stuff that's been causing all the trouble. This whole thing has been about us trying to change. The world is trying to change, and we're trying to change. Now, with even Pluto up in this business, it's literally saying us trying to change from an egoic perception, which is Pluto, also the structure of our lives, which is Saturn, to something new and different, which is Jupiter, and all hopefully with the hopes of it being better than it was before. And so that's why this has been a hot mess, because change never is an easy or pretty process. Because there's always there's pushback. And then this also can be traced back to Aries of 2019. So any plans, if any of you guys ever started doing, intention setting or manifestation goals, like if you guys actually started in 2019 and you look back, you will see that some of those things have come to fruition because we already completed this kind of like seasonal cycle, from Aries of last year to Aries of this year. But you know what's interesting is June of this year, 2020, is when I actually noticed that a lot more people were seeing some kind of bigger changes in their life. For example, for me, it was when I found out I could read the Akashic records. So if any of you guys can trace anything back, just like kind of around that time, maybe June, July, take a look and see if you can. If not, no big deal, but just know that like that's kind of an idea of how long sometimes things take to really see manifest from like last year leading up into a whole new year. Sometimes it'll take that long. So don't be stressed if you're not seeing things happen. It will come. It will come. Especially once we get all these planets out of Capricorn. Capricorn is it's like the slow-mo of all the signs. Because Capricorn is like the one that knows that patience is key. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of that. I even wrote this down as the next slide. It's a slow build to manifestation. It's not going to say, okay, if you write everything down now, boom, tomorrow you get everything you've ever wanted. All 10 things that you wrote down, you get them all. It's like, no, it's going to take a while. You're going to have to take a little bit of time to really think things through. And also, spirit is giving you time, because what if you write something? For example, this is what I did. I wrote down, Jesus, can you please bring me a man that wants to marry me and wants to have kids? Because I'm tired of this waiting around. I'm tired of seeing all my friends having kids and getting married. This is getting ridiculous. And then what did Spirit do? Spirit was like, okay, yeah, if that's what you want. And then they dropped a dude on me who had no emotional intelligence at all. And I was, but was like, so I think we should get married and have kids. And it was like, ugh. It was like, it was like, it was like, I don't know, a robot who wanted, you know what I'm saying? With no emotional or empathic ability whatsoever. But Spirit was like, well, you said this is what you wanted. So why are you mad? And I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you for being so crass. So it's like the whole slow build to the things you really want is actually in your favor. Because we come on, let's be honest. How many of us like can raise our hands and say, I'm an expert at intention setting? I can't. I for sure can't. This just happened to me. The whole guy thing who wants to marry me and stuff. That just happened like last month. So yeah, so it's just saying take some more time, like, pull back, get that like eagle eye perspective, because more things are going to unravel. And that way, when you get more clarity, then you'll be able to go, all right, cool, this is how I need to go about setting this intention. Now I can kind of, you know what I mean, stylize it to fit me and my needs. It can, the thing about this is it is going to bring up fears and worries and anxieties, because like I was saying in the very beginning, it's because we're being called to release things that no longer serve us. And so it's going to make all this space, but then we're going to go, but what's going to fill it? For example, people might be thinking about changing jobs, changing careers, you know what I'm saying? Quitting a job and then going, but I don't have that job to back me up. My parents used to tell me this wisdom a long time ago. They used to say, don't quit a job till you have your new job lined up. And I'll tell you right now, I did not listen when I quit my job to be a tarot reader. But now look at me. Like I have my own business, and now I can read the Akashic records. It was like Spirit was like, well, because of the fact that you did, do this, which was challenging, was hard, because I felt like I had to face people and explain, yeah, I quit. I really didn't like being treated really badly. And then them going, oh, that's so great. But you probably have another job lined up, don't you? And it's like I had to have answers. But the whole point of this is we're not going to have the answers. This is why the fears, the anxieties, and the worries. But that's for us. It really is. If you really think about that, it allows us to be in flow with our emotions, because we're actually not meant to carry these emotions around with us. We are meant to kind of transcend them. It's more about processing them to a point where we can actually feel in flow with life as the experiences occur. So the fear can be like a compass as opposed to like a blockage to help you move forward. This is the whole point of it all, of telling us to like, all right, I know you're excited. We're filling you up with a lot of fire energy, and we're telling you to set all these goals and intentions, which can be exciting, but we're not going to give it to you right away. So this is the time for us to really work on the lower vibrational emotions to become more balanced with ourselves. That's the whole point of it. So, like I said, sometimes some of us are going to be really excited because we're going to kind of feel an inspiration. We're probably going to get glimpses of the blessings coming in. Some of us, do readings on our own, or people, tell us like, oh, you're going to be so successful. Look at you already. You're doing things for yourself. Like, so we get the hints and stuff, but this is just also a reminder that like everything's going to be slow progression, and we kind of still have more work to do. I have these like cool affirmations on the right side here that I think would be really helpful for everybody if they wanted to go through them. For example, what I was going to do was I have my list of intentions, and I was going to write, it's all the signs of of astrology. So you can write down for your sun sign, your rising sign, and I also recommend your moon if you know that. So just, if you guys need to pull that up, you can reference a natal chart. But what you can look at is, the affirmation next to your sign. So I'll just kind of go through them. For example, Aries, your affirmation is, I welcome fresh new energy into my life. Taurus is, as I let go, I create space for something new, just like I was talking about. Gemini, as I still my mind, my intuition speaks clearly. Cancer, on every exhale, my mind becomes clearer. Leo, everything is working out for my highest good. Virgo, I love myself fully and deeply. Libra, it's time to shine. All possibilities open to me now. Scorpio, as my body relaxes, the answers I seek find me. Sagittarius, I focus on recharging and nourishing myself. Capricorn, I'm relaxed and aligned with the present moment. Aquarius, I surrender to whatever the day brings. And last, Pisces, as I tend to my inner world, my outer world responds too. So I definitely, like I said, I would tap into the sun and rising if they're different. And if they're the same like me, then maybe the moon. So for me, I'm Capricorn, sun and rising, but Leo moon. So I'm going to write down the Capricorn one and the Leo one. So just as an example. All right. So now we have Scorpio. Well, Mercury, I always like to mess with this word, Mercury renegade in Scorpio, but really it's retrograde. But I love saying the words that it's not, because people are like, what is retrograde? And so I'll just say random thing. I'll say Gatorade. Yeah, renegade. I'll say all the things. So what does it mean when Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio? Well, it means that there are some good things are things of your past might come back, but things that are positive, things you used to do, like hobbies, things you were passionate about, or even lifestyle changes you had made in the past and maybe you dropped. For example, for me, it was a regular workout routine and eating healthy. So now I'm finally getting back to it, and it's actually giving me a lot of energy. So it makes a lot of sense. And then also too, like it's a good time to integrate these parts of you because it helps with the balancing the aspect that Libra's calling into, calling up. So the other part of it could also be the releasing part of it. For example, some old memories might come up, or old people, like people of the past. So, and some of these might arise those emotions I was talking about before, where you might be feeling a little bit too, I don't know, maybe it might fill you with worry or anxiety or fears. And so you're being called to just flow through that. Not necessarily act through it, but just kind of just, allow yourself to process it. I even have this like list on the upper right hand corner. So, for example, things you're going to want to avoid is kind of trying to control everything or making decisions, like, especially if they're rash, lashing out in frustration, acting out of fear or guilt, like I was saying before. Maybe also, too, it's also saying avoid having a full schedule. The reason being is because when you create a full schedule for yourself, you don't allow yourself the time to process the emotions that are coming up. So, things like this. But the things you should be focusing on are like being present, being patient, doing your best to, you know what I mean? Focus on that. Releasing the negative patterns or beliefs, things that you think. It could be like self sabotaging thoughts, or it could be actual physical self sabotaging things like, I drink alcohol all the time. Like, those are probably things you're not going to want to continue doing, health conscious. And also, too, like, oh, yeah, self care. And to go off of the whole not having a full schedule, maybe figuring out a way to have a balance and having a flexible schedule. Just a couple things. But basically, this Mercury retrograde is going to bring important messages hidden behind the symbols and scenarios in our dreams. So, if anybody's been having crazy, phenomenally vivid, lucid dreams, yeah, me too. Especially last night, it was really weird and intense. It was like I was taking a religious course in school. I was back in school, which I told myself I hate school. I like to learn, but I don't like the institution of a school. But I was all up in school and I was taking a religions course. And it was so funny because the teacher, this is all a dream. The teacher is up on the board and the teacher's writing stuff, but he's standing right in front of the things he's writing. So, and I'm a note taker. So I'm all up in my dream, like, I can't see. I can't see what he's writing on the board. I was so frustrated. And then I look around to be like, can anybody else see? And I'm looking and everyone's asleep. Like, everyone's asleep in the class. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? And then all of a sudden, instead of it being like a religious class about Christianity or whatever it was, all of a sudden the teacher goes, okay, and now I'm going to pull the tarot cards for every single person in class. And it was like, I was like, what is going on? So anyway, pay attention to your dreams, guys, because things are coming up in them, and try your best to like write them down, because there's literally there's going to be meaning in them for you to try to figure out and analyze. All you have to do is, and I shouldn't say it like it's so easy, but one of the things you can do is take an aspect. So for example, I'm going to take the aspect of classroom, and then I'm going to go online and I'm going to go, what is the meaning of a classroom, in a dream? And then I'm going to get all these listings of different dream websites. So just see what you can do, see what you can dig up. This whole process is about you investing in yourself anyway. So you might as well invest in the symbolism and the meaning behind your dreams as well. So, all right, moving on. And to kind of close things out a little bit, I decided I wanted to talk about the actual intention part, or the ritual, I should say, the ritual part of a moon ritual. One of the things I always do is I always suggest, like, oh, get this candle and get this exact crystal and get this exact ointment. And I don't even consider like the fact that not all of us have access to these tools, and the fact that we've been in COVID. I haven't been thinking about that. So I came across this today where it was saying, oh, for people on a budget, I was like, that's perfect. So, for example, if you happen to just have like a small white Glade candle that you use in your bathroom, whip that guy out. You know, you can use white actually as a substitute for any color that you need it for. And then clear quartz is another one. It's kind of like your first crystal that that usually most people get. It's really pretty, so people gravitate towards it, and it's very simple. It could be used for anything. It could be used for protection, for bringing in new things, luck, all these. It can represent any other crystal if you needed it to. Also, rosemary and sage, any kind of common sage, to help you to substitute with herbs or to substitute for like cleansing materials. Like I have white sage and I have Palo Santo and I have rosemary and I have incense. I have all the things because I've been on my little witch hype for a while now. But like for example, if you're just starting out and you're like, hey, this is a cool thing, but I don't got any of these things. I'm like, I think I have sage growing in my backyard and the weeds, you know? So, but it's saying it's possible if you know what I'm saying? For you to use anything. It doesn't have to be fully dried yet or anything like that. Just know that which which powers can come from anywhere because really it just comes from you. If you have the intention and you put it in towards the things that are around you, then it will happen. It will still work, is what I'm trying to say. But if you're fancy, here are some cool crystals for a new moon on the right side. So some people might have these, like a moonstone is another good one. An adventurine is a great one, especially for intention setting. One of the things I will do is I'll take my journal and then I'll like with all my intentions in it and I'll stuff it under my pillow and sleep on top of it at night, and I'll have my adventurine and my quartz sitting next to me like on the little, nightstand. And then there's these other ones too, like a kyanite if you have one, a chrysocolla, bumblebee jasper. These ones kind of remind me of the solar plexus, you know what I mean? To have courage. It's all about having the courage for yourself, because we have to focus on the things we want to release, which takes courage. So, it's kind of intense energy. All right. And then finally, we have our actual pick a card reading. Woohoo! The part that we're actually all really here for. I know. I know we are. Okay, so if you want, go ahead and take the time for yourself. Sit down, light some sage, get your tea, get your water, and hydrate. I need to. It's dry up in this house. Ooh. So, this is how we're going to do the pick a card reading. We have group 1 is on the far left, group 2 is in the middle, and group 3 is on the right. And the way that is really best is if you actually take the moment to just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths in. You can start by breathing in your nose for 4 seconds, holding at the top, and then releasing for 5. And then breathing in for 5, holding at the top, and exhaling for 6. And if you can push it, breathe in again for 5, hold at the top, and exhale for 6. And just slow everything down and ask, what are the intentions that I am meant to focus on? What are the intentions that I am meant to focus on? And when you open your eyes, allow your intuition to pick the pile for you. And just give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. All right. Awesome. All right, I got as many thumbs up as I can see, so that are here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. So hopefully everyone chose their pile. I already left the screen anyway. But don't worry, I recorded this, so or I am recording it. So if you need to watch it later, I'll send the recording once I upload it to YouTube. But we're gonna start with pile 1. Okay, so what I did today was I actually chose 2 different cards, traditional tarot cards from 2 different decks. So one is from the Rider Waite, and then this other one is from, I forgot, is it the Spellcasters, I think? Yeah, the Spellcasters Tarot. So for group 1, what we have first is the Star in reverse. And I'm actually going to spotlight myself because I get a little distracted sometimes. All right. So the Star in reverse is the first card for group number 1. So this one is harping on the message I was saying earlier, just have faith. And it can be really, really challenging to have faith in spirit because sometimes spirit doesn't tell you exactly how things are going to play out, word for word, detail by detail. So it can be a little bit challenging to really, trust in spirit to fully release. The other thing I've been noticing about this card in particular is that there's like 1 foot on land, on earth, meaning like being very grounded, in earth energy and Mother Earth, visiting nature, doing grounding meditations, whatever is required. But then the other foot actually in the water. So hopefully you can see that. And this has a lot to do with, again, a balancing act. The water is supposed to represent just kind of like the opposite aspect of earth, it has more to do with spirituality, but also emotions and being in flow with things. Grounded reminds me of like the stability and of like the step-by-step process, whereas as water, it's kind of like the spontaneity of things and just being in flow with it. So like as things occur and push you forward, it's kind of like, all right, I guess I'm gonna let this happen. So the Star is kind of telling you to have that sort of balance with life, to lead you towards your goals, your manifestations. But the fact that even the Star is here is suggested, is like saying that you are going to come into a lot of blessings. This is not just simply like, oh, well, just hold the faith and maybe. It's like saying, no, like really do this because this is really going to happen for you. Regardless, actually. But you can make the blessings greater or even better by having really positive mindset is key here. And then to kind of like harp on that, or no, I use this as a clarifier, I should say, is the 8 of Pentacles. And I really like the imagery on this kind of card because it's talking about rain or shine, putting efforts towards something that is meaningful. It's kind of like an investment almost, but maybe more like okay, how you'll start from an apprenticeship position and then you'll build up to like a mastery level of something. It's more like that. It's talking about either you are considering more education, more learning to progress in something you've already started to build, or you're going to become the master, become the teacher, the one that teaches. So it's talking about that, and it's saying if you haven't been thinking about the progress of something, then you should now. So it's dependent on where you are, because it's a group reading. I can't say specifically where you're at, but it's saying that if this is kind of like what you've been mulling over, like, oh, should I figure out a way to educate myself further in this. I don't know if I should be investing in this. Spirit is saying yes. Or Spirit is saying, if you're already ready, then go ahead and like, you know, work towards becoming like the one who teaches, because of the fact that you have the star here. You know, it's just saying, let's keep going. Like, you're not meant to stay stagnant. Some of the other cards, for example, I have some oracle cards. One of them actually is 8, which is accelerated motion, which reminds me of, it kind of reminds me of the 8 of Pentacles again. I'm not sure if it is the 8 of Pentacles, but it is kind of like that feeling of like being on a forward progressive road, headed somewhere. And see, this woman is just like looking up at the star, which is kind of funny because you also got the star card. I mean, it's not funny, it's synchronistic is what it is. But it's talking about like setting your sights on your highest goals possible and investing towards it. You know, accelerated motion is saying like, keep putting effort towards the things that you know intuitively are going to bring you the most abundance, the most success, the most prosperity, recognition, whatever it is that you desire. You know, and then the other card that came out with this is the it kind of reminds me of the 5 of Pentacles actually, and it's financial and material changes. So this is kind of why I'm thinking it has maybe more to do with the job or career, because of the fact that we've got the Pentacles came out in this card, and then with the 5, I think this is the 5 of Pentacles, where it's saying financial and material changes. So it's basically saying to me like, there's going to be opportunity for you, and you're going to kind of have to figure out a creative way to harness all of your talents and your skills and your energy to put towards, you know, the goals that you really have for yourself. Actually, I think this might be cups, because if this is red and this is purple, then maybe this is pentacles and then this is cups. I don't know this deck very well. But I'm just trying to say, like, it's really giving me the vibes that this is kind of like work related for group 1. So yeah, let me know later. Let me know in the comments. No, I don't know, like wherever people tell me their business, like just let me know if this is hitting home for you, group 1. And then the other deck I wanted to pull from, I've been really liking this deck. I did not like it when I first got it. I've had it for years, and now I'm kind of like, okay, I vibe with this. Like I'm kind of getting it. They're known as karma cards. And what they do is they have 3 different piles. One is the signs, astrological signs. One is the planets, and one is the houses. So again, it's like harping on the information that I was mentioning earlier. It's going to tell you like which ones you should really be putting your energy towards, like most of your energy towards. So what you guys have is, for your sign, you had the sign of Scorpio, which again, I was saying, like, I really don't want to leave Scorpio out tonight. I really want to talk about Scorpio. And then the planet is actually the South Node. The South Node is actually the node of the moon. So the moon has a North Node and a South Node. And usually the South one has more to do with the karmic, Mercury retrograde, always getting me like tripping over myself. And all right. So the South Node has more to do with the lessons that you need to learn or release that are like karmic cycle-y lessons. So the South Node is saying that you're probably coming into this energy a bit more than anything else, or like maybe more so than other groups. So just expect more things to come up, to surface, for you to process and release. And the house is the first house, which is, it's like talking about the house of self. It's about who you are. So putting it all together, it has like some messages that you can kind of like read from to kind of help you. So for example, there's like a spiritual sentence that says, purification to resurrect. There will not, I think I'm reading it backwards actually. I think it's planets. Yeah. Okay. There will not be purification to resurrect who you are. So it's saying like that there's going to be an element that is going to need your attention to kind of cleanse yourself. You're going to kind of slowly go towards like go through a purification process. But there's also there's an anxiety about the secrets of your desires. So this could be a mental thing that's going on for group 1. So you might be having some desires that you're not like vocal about, that you're not open about. And so there's actually a little bit of anxiety around this, because and these are your desires too. Usually we have anxiety around our desires, and this is kind of harping on that. And then in the physical aspect, there is some trouble resulting from the power of your actions. So you are the group, you have to be careful with the energy right now. You're the one that's being called to, when you feel frustrated, anger, these kinds of emotions, maybe just emotional, be careful on acting out on it in this energy. That's what this is kind of talking about. And then there's the other side of them. It has more messages. So for example, this is saying planet size houses. Oops, it's backwards. So the first thing that's a spiritual, these are all suggestions for you to have in place. Spiritual aspect is remember the extraordinary power of prayer immediately. So spirit is saying, hurry up, use your ability of prayer. It seems very powerful for group number 1. So prayer can look like anything. It doesn't actually literally have to be like on your hands and knees and then going like, Jesus, it could be anything. It could just be you laying back, taking a moment, a couple breaths and going, Spirit, I need you. Or calling upon Archangel Michael and going, Mike, I need you. You know what I'm saying? It could be anything along these lines to help you. The second line is a mental, it's all just advice. It's a mental aspect. Reconsider the highest and lowest aspects of the way you project yourself. So this is a really good one for those who are considering like, oh, the old way of how I was being and behaving, or projecting, I should say, this is serving me or isn't serving me. And then the last one, the physical, is saying now is not the time to control the situation. And so they're kind of saying, make sure you are trying to go with the flow of things. Because Scorpio is a water sign. Even though people like to relate Scorpio to being like this, all like edgy, like, I like to control and all that. The thing about it is, Scorpio is best when it's in flow. So you're being called to do that. You also have, for my favorite deck, you also have the moon card. So the moon is bringing you guys a lot of energy and power. So it would behoove you to take advantage of this energy right now. It would behoove you to write down your intentions, the things you want to manifest. And then at the end of the month, again, do some release work if you need to on the full moon. Because it's saying there's something about this moon energy. But also, too, these kinds of cards always remind me a little bit of what do you call it? A dream catcher. It kind of looks like a dream catcher because it's like the circle and then like the dangly part. So again, this is harping on your dreams, group 1. So anybody relating to the dreams and you chose group 1, this is the actual message says, take note of intuitive messages. So there's something about the messages that are coming in with the moon, with your intuition. There's going to be clarity coming in. It's a type of communication. But usually also too, with the moon, it has to do with divine feminine energy. So things that are hidden within. So you're being called to go within, maybe do shadow work, possibly. But I remember here it's like saying, reconsider the highest and lowest aspects. like, to me, that's also just saying, like, just analyze self, just be within self for a little while. The other card too is the Traveler, which I love this card. She's basically like a gypsy, and she's all about move in a new direction. So whatever it is that you are trying to invest into, you might be thinking like, do I need to continue in this direction or do I need to change directions? And I really do feel like change is upon you because you have the 5 from this oracle card, and it's also in red, and she's also in red. So it's all about foundations, like the foundational things, because it's the root. It's like the root chakra. So the things that you found foundations in, probably usually it has to do with work. It might not, but take what you will from these messages. But there is change afoot. So the thing about the Traveler is she's the type of person who's so used to being on the move. She's kind of like lives so simply that she knows how to like pick things up to go wherever she needs to go. And it's kind of like that kind of travel if it's relative to you on the physical plane. But if it's a spiritual thing that you're being called to do, she's one that travels within as well. It reminds me very much of Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarians are ruled by, you know, Jupiter, which is like, again, it's all about, or Sagittarian energy is just about travel in general and the lessons that you learn through culture and travel and experience. But it can go either way. Part of me thinks it's a spiritual thing because it's with the moon and it's looking deep within at like the shadow aspects and stuff that you really should be focusing on, especially because you also have the South Node, which is about the karmic cycles and the lessons, and Scorpio, which is also about renewal, things like that. I mean, this is where I'm leaning, but it could be anything. The final messages are these affirmation cards that are from my little starseed deck. And these cards are, the first one actually that came out is abundance. They want you to think about your abundance, where it's coming from, how it's coming in, what you're focusing on specifically. For example, the message says, when your heart's intention is to serve humanity, the doors of abundance just naturally open. And it's true. I've been held because I chose a profession that allows me to focus on like raising my vibration and raising the vibration of others that come to me. So there's that, but there's also gratitude, which kind of goes hand in hand. A lot of people who practice manifestation, especially if it's with abundance related manifestation, usually they do gratitude as well, because they know law of attraction is suggesting that the one thing that really enhances abundance in this kind of way that we're looking for. I want to be more abundant and I want to, for money and material gain. Then gratitude is the way to go. It really is. Gratitude is, it's saying universal love shines through the miracles of life all around you. And if you focus on these like little bits and nuggets of the miracles, then spirit's going to go, okay, so you like that? I'm going to give you more. Like, that's really what this is about. But man, I knew it. Reflection is the other card for group 1. So see all aspects of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. The hidden self is the moon, right? Because the sun is the one that shines brightly. It's the ego. It's the one that's like, I'm the sun and I'm going to shine on your ass. And the moon's the one that's like, I'm going to stay hidden and I'm going to keep all those secrets. But like, this is really where you base a lot of your emotions from, and a lot of your, you know what I mean? And actually a lot of your relationships and your experiences play out from the hidden side is really the truth. So the more you focus on this, the more you work through the karmic cycles, which is the South Node, the more you try to like release and try to, rebirth yourself and focus on the things that the high and the lows of the things that are working and not working. I'm telling you, this is what's really it's the deal breaker. It really is. It's gonna It's going to flip the star card upright, you know, as opposed to being in reverse. And then it's like when the star card is reversed, it's like you're in a holding pattern almost. So just keep that in mind. A holding pattern, for those of you who are like, what the hell are you talking about? A holding pattern is like when you know you're at the precipice of change, and yet for some reason it's just not happening and you don't know why. And it's because you need to focus on the things that are inside, reflect internally, the things that are trying to pop up, emotions that are popping up, past relationships. Just allow yourself to process these things. And slowly, it doesn't have to be aggressive and fast and harsh, and it's take your time. And the last card for group number 1 is Gaia, so Mother Earth, which makes so much sense because I was really drawn to like her being in red, her traveling, you know, traveling the earth and things like that. You might literally like physically be planning on traveling, group 1, or in the process of. But when you spend time in Mother Earth, Gaia connects you to the pulse of Mother, who is the one who guides you through change. So if you connect a little bit more in this way, she kind of reminds you of the things. It's like being quiet enough just to listen to her messages, you know, just sitting down under a tree or going to the beach or something, you know. But yeah, so that's group 1. Now I'm going to move on to group 2. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you, everybody, for your patience while I really dug deep on that one. So group 2's card. So you guys were a little different. You guys had 1 card from the Rider Waite, and then 3 cards came out kind of as the clarifiers, but it will make sense. Okay, so this is the part where I didn't see the other ones though, so the rest is a surprise even for me. But the first card is the 3 of Swords. And usually this is talking about things that are just emotionally difficult to bear. So it could be relationships. It could be just moments in time that hurt you, that harmed you, that made you feel like, oh, how am I ever going to get over this? But depending on what it's paired with, it could just be talking about, you know, actual romantic relationships that kind of like leave you feeling maybe a little bit jaded. You know, like the whole aspect of a new moon is suggesting like, well, if I'm supposed to release this old, you know, relationship or ex or whatever this, maybe it's a situationship that you need to release. They're like, well, if I meant to release it, will I get something back in return, you know, from my heart? And then it's also too the fear of like, well, okay, well, let's say I have the faith that I will get something back, but I'm just going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like I already know there's always something wrong with blah 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 blah, you know what I'm saying? And usually the people who think this way always go, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist, I'm just a realist. But it's like the truth of the matter is it's not. It's actually low vibrational thinking. This is what spirit is calling you in for. I already know because like this is my group. I fucking already know. Like I'm sitting here going, I'm going to tell you my life through these cards real quick. So, for example, releasing the narrative of the old relationships that you've been through the situations, this is key. And self-love. Like the Ace of Cups is the card that came from the other deck. This is all about, this is in reverse, excuse me. This is in reverse. You're being called to give yourself love, tend to your own garden right now. This is actually another huge, you know, symbol and meaning for group 2 that I've been having to work on, because if you are meant to come into another union with someone or a relationship of any kind or a situationship, usually sometimes what could happen is, even though you might be ready for it, then there will be scenarios that come up or challenges that come up, and it kind of leaves you with some doubts. So spirit is saying, just like tend to your own garden and become so in tune with yourself that you can even like you can still see clearly through the challenges. Like, you know, challenges are always meant to make us think about things, you know, evolve, grow, progress. But it doesn't mean that they have to be so difficult that we can't like persevere or transcend or, you know, or learn from them. So that's one of the biggest messages of like the Ace of Cups. And the other thing about it too is group two has the Two of Pentacles. So it's again, it's the aspect of balance, because as you can see, this person is like on a log with one foot, but not even tripping. Like not even tripping. It's like he's like, I've got my things like all together that I don't even have to look down at my feet. I'm just gonna like throw these pentacles up and around and like work on these things that I'm like trying to balance, and everything will be fine. So that's what you're being called to focus on and set your intentions on. And usually, well, seeing as how I have the Ace of Cups and the Three of Swords, to me, one of these pentacles represents your emotional self. So you've got your emotional self, and then you probably have like your logical self. So maybe one of the harder things is like making decisions using your mind or over, you know, using your heart or vice versa. That could be one of the things that group two maybe struggles with. And then so it's saying just like come to a place where you're so balanced that no matter what pops up for you, you're able to just go like, okay, well, you know, from these past experiences that I've learned to work through and process, and now it's just wisdom. I know that, you know, in this scenario, this is the best thing that, you know, we could do regarding the situation. The final card is the Knight of Pentacles. So it is suggesting like a progress towards these goals, towards the things that you want to work on, especially if you do like work on these intentions. If you do set the intention, like I'm going to work on self-love, self-care, self-growth, and I'm going to work on, I set the intention to be balanced, maybe my mind over my heart or whatever you say, then they're talking about the progression. Sorry for the glare. I'm trying to work with it. The progression that will occur. It will be slow because, like I said, like this is all about slow progression, and this is the Knight of Pentacles. This knight is the slowest moving knight of all of them. It's the one that's like, I need to make sure I watch where I put my foot, like as we're moving forward. I need to like watch every step because we just want the best outcome out of all of it. But there's something about this that's going to bring longevity, because of the fact that I'm seeing like this dog. It's like a loyal, it's a messenger. There's like a package in his mouth, and there's a message of some kind really coming forward. Let me bring it a little closer. So see how he's got like a package, and he's walking towards the guy with the pentacles, and I know my arm is shaking because I did yoga earlier and it was a lot of arms and stuff. So I'm all, but there's something about this information. There's messages that are still going to come in. And also too, the ships are usually also too representative of, you know, when you're like, oh, I'm waiting for my ship to come in, like bring me back my person that's on the ship, or whatever is being like, whatever precious cargo might be on the ship. There's something about something coming in for group two, which is pretty dope if you think about it. So it's just saying like the energy you're going to put towards yourself is going to show progress, but it will take some time. The other cards that came up, this group also got 3 oracle cards, and one of them has to do with, there's one card came up that's known as discontent and boredom. And this one reminds me of like the 4 of Cups in a regular tarot, like a traditional tarot deck. The 4 of Cups is one of those that's like, Yeah, I mean, I kind of want something new, but I'm just gonna kind of like sit here and wait on it. Like, kind of, I don't know. Like, spirit, usually in the traditional tarot deck, there's a hand that's popping out of a cloud and it has a cup in it and it's going here. But the person's kind of like, I don't know. And that's the whole point of this whole like, I'm a little discontent because it's one of those things that's like, this person might be struggling with the aspect of like wanting the change, but they know that it's something that they're looking for. So I don't know. This message is a little, it feels like there's more than one, if I'm honest. Because then we have Triumph, which in this deck actually is like the Chariot. And so this one has like the person working through the situation regardless of all the challenges and things coming at them, and they're still able to move forward. So it's interesting. It's like this person is holding on longer than they need to. Honestly, it's kind of the vibes. And this group two also got Love Begins. So Love Begins is again harping on the Ace of Cups. You know, really telling you that you need to start pouring the water into yourself, really working on this garden. It kind of looks like the Garden of Eden a little bit, you know, with the big hands of God, like pouring the water into the river. It's just like, so to me, it's like super symbolic of, you know, just making sure that you are tending to your own garden and caring for yourself. Because ultimately that's going to be your ticket through any situation that arises. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, even more so, like, so in my favorite um ancestors and angels deck, this group also got the Seer, which is saying see beyond your current situation. So I think that like maybe it could just be that this person is like, I don't know if I should take up these opportunities because of the fact that like I don't even know like what the outcome is going to be. So it's telling you pull out, pull back, get that bird's eye view, get that perspective. This seer doesn't even have to see with her eyes. She can see with her third eye. It's so strong that she's able to like tell based off of the information coming from spirit. Like you're being called to do this. That you're like, oh, I'm so in tune that I don't actually, I'm just, my third eye is the one giving me the knowledge and wisdom I need to make the right steps for myself going forward. So you're being called to practice this more as well. And again, like analyze by pulling yourself out of the situation, because being in the situation, it's like spirit's trying to hand you stuff, but you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm not so sure. Then you also have the Knight group two, which is one of my favorites. I kid you not. The Knight is representative of somebody who's loyal. Remember, we had the dog. So we have the loyalty aspect again, but this time we have it. So it's like, you know, a knight is loyal to the king and the queen and the kingdom. But with the roses and like the rose garden and the bushes behind, it's actually talking about the kingdom being the kingdom within, the garden within. And I was harping on this the whole time. It's just like, put love into the garden within, your spiritual connection, because spirit is like, I'm trying to co-create with you, but we're not chatting, and you're not like spending time like rejuvenating yourself and like in like providing to your own garden. So they're saying like, it's like instead of choosing to just keep riding through everything, just like pushing through all the challenges and things of life, they're saying like take this moment, find the balance, and like be with spirit a bit more, be with yourself a bit more, and then, you know, like you can be this ultimate level of courage and bravery. you can go through any situation. That's what a knight is. They're like, I'm not afraid of anything. Not really. Well, that's the stereotype of a knight. And then his message says, be brave and honest. So it is about being honest with yourself as much as you're being honest with like people coming in. But really, it feels like yourself. It feels like, are you holding on to things that are no longer serving you? Are you holding on to an ex, an old relationship? You know what I'm saying? Or the narratives, the thoughts like, well, I'm ready to bring in a new person, but I already know like there's going to be something about him. There's always something. You know what I'm saying? That is another thing. With the karma cards, what we have for group 2 is for the signs is Taurus. And then we have we have Neptune is the planets. It's like all about the things that inspire, like things like it's kind of like imaginative and things like that. And then we have the third house for group 3, or excuse me, group 2. So for these messages, it's saying your beliefs inspire others when you make the right connections. That's really dope. And then on a mental aspect, it says the costs of, well, some of the grammar has to be switched around with these cards because they're supposed to be interchangeable. But like the costs of like to be prepared to sacrifice for the idea in question. So, okay, that's really out there and sounds like another language. But what it's trying to say is like be prepared to sacrifice things in order to like progress. So like the thing that's in question for you now, be prepared, to sacrifice. There will be a cost for it either way, like if you hold on to it or if you release it. But usually with release, it's a good thing. The sacrifice is for the highest good. And then for the physical, it says use the most direct way, but yielding is the only way to get your ideas going. So they're trying to harp on like be very clear with yourself. It was the message of like, where is it? Yeah, like the honesty. So by when it says use the most direct way, like be as honest as you can about this process and allow yourself to yield to the things that are popping up for you. And then you have the flip side, which is kind of like the suggestions and guidance for these cards. So it is saying for the spiritual plane, oh, here we go. Yeah, the idealization of resources to maintain your ideas. So definitely start thinking about the kinds of resources that you need to implement or to get in order to enhance your ideas that you have going on. And honestly, it's intention setting is what you're being called to do. And then mental, it's saying there's going to be confusion regarding the practicality of short-term thinking. So again, the longevity, when I was saying the 2 of Pentacles, I was like, there's something about the longevity because of the dog. It's really loyal, but like for life, dogs are loyal for life. And also like with the Knight of Pentacles, it was talking, that is saying slow progression. So there's longevity in that. Slow progression usually means a lasting outcome. So these karma cards are saying, that there will be a lot of productivity if you start to, or excuse me, it's saying you might be confused. I was reading a different line. You might be confused when you have to think of like the practical aspects of long-term thinking. The short-term thinking is not beneficial for group 2. The last line is a physical aspect, and it's saying, again, it's harping on sacrifice. So there is going to be results and productivity with sacrifice, and it's really geared around who or what is around you So they're saying like there's probably going to be some messages coming in for you, because that's this one, the bored and discontent. I'm sorry, discontented, discontent and boredom. This one is like reminding me of the Four of Cups, and it's like saying, and I know it's not, it has more to, I think it's actually like Four of Pentacles possibly, but it's in reverse, and it's just reminding me of this whole like vibe of, you know, maybe you need to look at what it is that's not, that you're surrounding yourself with every day. You're going to work or putting effort into this every day, but you don't feel fulfilled by it, or possibly a relationship, or, you know, something, whatever you can relate it to, group two. And you can tell you're like, I'm just coasting. I'm just riding through it. I'm doing the chariot, going through the motions every day, putting myself through this process every day. And I don't even feel, and like this group reminds me of the giver, like the notion, the idea of a giver, somebody who dedicates all of their time and practice. It's me. I'm telling you, I'm so group two, but like I don't, I also don't spend time on my own practices. I preach about them and I know what to do. But sometimes when I'm done, sometimes I'm so like tired or exhausted, but it's because I didn't have the balance that was necessary to like give myself, you know, the moment to like do my own practices that I really need to do. Cause I'm the one complaining that I'm not seeing the changes that I want to see. But spirit is saying like, well, that's because you ain't doing the work. And I get it now. I really do. And this makes so much sense. It really does. Tend to your own garden. Find that balance. So first card that came out is Starseed. So if you guys have ever gotten a reading from me, you know that you're a star seed, most likely. Not everyone's a star seed though, but a lot of people are. Because it's just like law of attraction. Like, because I'm a star seed, I attract a lot of star seeds or people who are like me. But this message is saying, raise the vibration of the planet through your radiant, loving light. So, you know, basically it's saying, you know who you are, that you know you came here for a reason. And I always say this and it sounds kind of harsh, but it's like, you're really of no use to anyone if you're depleted of your energy. And I know this, I do. Like, I will get so exhausted and wiped out that I need to just like sleep or rest all day. And then I'll like self sabotage and think like, oh my God, I just wasted a whole day and I'm really hard on myself. And it's the narrative that I need to continue to like slave, because I'm like the giver. So we just need to remember that that's not what this is about. It's all about balance. The other one is intuition. And it's saying, trust your intuition. It has been guiding you to the answers you seek. And just like sitting down for a moment and just being quiet and listen, then you'll start to hear things. You'll like an idea will pop in your head and you'll be like, I don't know where that came from, but kind of sounds like a good idea. Maybe I should like invest into it, you know, just to help you, especially if you ask and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to be focused on. Can you send me a sign? And then spirit will, if you're just quiet for a moment. The other card is release. So this group does have a little bit releasing to do. Probably, you know, the old narrative that we need to hustle and be on the grind, because like the world tells us that that's how we're supposed to be, or at least that's how we're supposed to be here in the US. We're supposed to like, you know, work 9 to 5 and that's it. We're not supposed to have a life. You know, that narrative sucks. But it's saying release anything that keeps you from your path of authenticity. I like that one a lot. And transcendence. Transcendence is saying transcend your mind's limitations and allow your soul's light to truly shine. And I just, it's such a good one. Because again, like I was saying, I really feel connected to group two, because I do feel that my mind is the one that tells me that I'm not allowed to relax. Then I have to like constantly be tripping off of this and that and how much I'm supposed to be providing to other people. And so then I end up not providing to my own garden. So, all right, let's hope lessons learned are going to be learned here. And then group 3, final group. Woohoo. Now we have the, oh my God. And this was so amazing because the first card actually that came out is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is when you are on the journey, literally like you are moving away from something that no longer serves you. Like you're literally in the boat. And even though it's like there's like challenging waters, for example, in this picture you can see it's a little bit rougher waters where they are here, but directly in front of them is the clear water, like right ahead. So it's like the knowing, it's a very spiritual card, even though it's part of the minor arcana, which has to do with the day-to-day, as opposed to the major arcana, which has to do with like the spiritual journey. This one is saying that like you really know that you need to move on, move to calmer waters, progress in some kind of way. And you also received the Star card. And I believe it was upright. So I'm going to read it as upright. And what I really love about this one the most is like this one actually has different kind of imagery, but it's pretty darn close. This is still, you can hardly tell because it's a little blurry with my camera, but this foot again is on land and this foot is in the water. But still, both like hands have pitchers with water pouring out of them. And that is really symbolic of being so balanced that you're nurturing both the earth, the groundedness, you're nurturing these aspects, and then you're also nurturing, you know, the emotional flow and these aspects as well. So again, this group is just reminding me of like the energy that is saying, yeah, I know that these are the changes I need to make and have happen. And because you're doing that, it's saying like you are like you're finding the balance that's required for within on a spiritual level and with on the outside. And like both cards are, one is a minor arcana, one's a major arcana. So again, there's that aspect of the balance here as well, because it's saying you know your spiritual journey is in alignment with your, you know, your day-to-day, the physical, the matrix journey as well. So it's looking really good, you know, very auspicious drawing so far. And then we have a lot of, it's funny, we have a lot of like red cards, which makes me think of the, you know, like the root chakra. The first card actually is material harvest, which is perfect because like I was saying earlier, Libra is the harvest for the fall. And so this is talking about, it's like the 9. I think it's like possibly the 9 of Pentacles or something like that. Maybe it's the 9 of Cups or something. So it's usually it's talking about like, you know, getting real close to achieving those dreams and maybe even like starting to see the benefits, you know, reaping the rewards. It's also about gratitude because as you can see, this person with the head bowed, very grateful. It's almost like in prayer, right? For like, for all this abundance. Wow, thank you so much. Just appreciation for it all. I also really like the symbolism because it's like showing me this violet color. This person, while being in prayer, is kind of like emanating this violet light. And then there's like this sun, which reminds me of the solar plexus. So crown and solar plexus. But also this group also did actually get the crown card. So the chakra of the crown, which is at the top of your head, it is your connection to spirit, to the divine. You know, sometimes it's saying it might be overactive, it might be underactive. So just like discern for yourself what's going on. Maybe you are not connecting with spirit as much and you're being called to like dedicate a little bit more time. again, that whole balance thing, or you are. And it's just seeing like maybe you're actually going to be receiving a bit more prosperity and abundance because of like, you are following maybe the messages of spirit. So just take it as you will. You know where you are on this process. And then the last card is material and spiritual prosperity. So this reminds me of like the 6 of Wands, material and spiritual prosperity, because it's like reminding me of when you have the person riding on the horse and there's like this big celebration happening all around them and they're being recognized. There's recognition for the work that they've done, in any way, shape, or form. It could even just be a small note, from from a friend to another friend saying like, dang, you've really been doing a great job, and I know you've been going through it and things have been tough. And so this really reminds me of like the people who've been making the efforts for themselves and really been putting in the work. And like I said, take this as you will. Like if you're on the other side of this storyline, maybe you're not putting in the effort you need to, and maybe you're actually, so like, for example, this could be read all actually in reverse. So you could be stressing about financial prosperity and abundance. This could be actually, you might be feeling a little bit imbalanced, some anxieties and some fears. And so you need to just work on your connection to spirit through your crown, which would be like meditation, doing some more meditation. And as you're in meditation, like just tap the top of your head, envision your crown opening up. I always like try to envision like 2 antennas and everything's in between is just a violet color. And I just envision like spirit sends me messages through my little antennas, And so, like I said, take these messages as you will for this group. I'm honestly getting both, if I'm honest with you. So there's going to be a lot of people watching this later and they might feel one way or another. And then my favorite cards, my favorite deck, you have Stargazer, which is actually setting your sights higher. So focusing more on your worth, really believing in yourself. It's like the star in reverse. It's like saying like you know your worth, but you're not really like acting on it. Maybe sometimes people tell you, oh, hey, you should be doing this and that. You're so good at this and that. And you're just sort of like, I'm not so sure. And so spirit is saying, go ahead, like give yourself the allowance to set these intentions, set these goals, make them like really, really freaking high, because we'll match it. Like that's the way that spirit works. It's all about the law of attraction. Whatever is going on in here will match out here. So if you're constantly thinking about like, oh, like the highest blessings, the most abundance and all of that, and you're thinking positively as opposed to negatively, like, oh, I'll never get these things, like well, I'm a realist, so like even if the spirit brings me a relationship, I'm just gonna think like, well, it's not gonna last, they never do. Like that stuff is what's like blocking you. And so they're saying just stay focused on the goals you have. Just keep the faith, that's the star card. Literally, it's saying like, hold that faith in us. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah. And then the last card is Lady, or from this deck. And Lady she reminds me of like an Empress. She's like the Empress card. And like one of the things I love to look at or point out is the seeds in the apple in her hand. There's 5 little seeds, each representing all the elements, and then finally the element of spirit. So usually it's, earth, wind, air, fire, and water. And then the 5th one is spirit, which is kind of in conjunction with self, like us connecting with spirit. And so usually it's talking about how it's time to, well, her message is enjoy growth and reap the rewards. So she is like, again, it's like this card where I was saying it reminds me of the Six of Wands. Like there's going to be recognition coming for you. It reminds me of this period between the new moon and the full moon when people are going to start popping up and saying like, "Oh yeah, this was awesome what you did. I meant to tell you," or better yet, like you'll just actually get huge recognition. But they're saying sit in that to help you, because you have to see that you are worth a lot, like more than even you're thinking. Like spirit is saying, no, 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 go even more, like the extra mile for your goals and your intentions, because like you really do deserve all of this. The little bit that you're receiving now is supposed to like fill you with like some inspiration, with excitement, some joy, so to help you kind of keep going forward. The karma cards, the sign is actually Libra, so it's kind of like saying, yeah, now's your time. Now is the time. It's Libra season, it's a Libra moon, blah blah blah. And then we have the sign of Pluto, which is Pluto is the planet of the super ego. So it is the self on overdrive. And then the house is the 12th house, which, if you remember like the wheel that I showed earlier, like if we have the first house being like the self, or who you are, and like the 12th house is directly across from that, and it's actually referring to the hidden self. So when these messages combine, what it's saying is, for example, um, I always have to make sure I'm doing them correctly. Okay, and then the grammar is a little weird, so bear with me, I'll explain. Every single deck or every single group, it's like the grammar is a little funky, but it's because they're meant to be like combined with each other no matter which cards fall out. But it's not a perfect science. So the spiritual line is saying cooperation to perfect, the need for control of your faith. So to me, what I'm hearing is, a little bit of a balance to want to control these aspects of what it is that you believe in, because you have the star card. So it is about your faith. But they're saying, relinquish some of the control so you can move forward on your journey. The six of swords is like it's like moving out of the aggressive waters into calmer waters. So this group might need to be thinking more about their faith a little bit more deeply, and like a little less control over maybe like the details of it. So maybe you might be thinking in terms of the old narrative and what faith has told you, and so now it's time to say, okay, maybe like just like what would life be like if you didn't put faith in a box, kind of thing. And then the mental line is saying decisions about an obsession with hidden tendencies. So there might be something going on deep down inside that is like kind of an obsession area. Take it or leave it. This is a general message. But it's time to look at that. The intention setting is meant for this kind of energy. Like, what is it that I need to really let go of? And then the physical line is saying, resulting from the fairness shown by a power struggle, which is funny enough because when it's combined with the last card, this power struggle is large institutions or overwhelming events. So if this group, if you guys are like thinking a lot about like large institutions, or maybe even like the political economic status of the world right now, like this is kind of tapping into that for you. Like it's confirming that you chose the right group. Like if you've been thinking about this, or thinking about like, yeah, I really would like to see things play out in a more fair way. um the like justice over like the power struggle of the ones in power, right, with the ones that are fighting. against it. So it's like, yeah, if you guys have been wrapped up in this energy, just know then, yeah, you chose the right group for you guys, for yourself. And then here we go. So this final side is like the flip side is like, it's kind of like guidance. It's kind of like a suggestion that you can go by to help. So this one says, on a spiritual level, resurrect relationships that are seeking oneness with all there is. So this is highly tapping into relationships that are only about the highest good of all. You know what I'm saying? Like the the oneness with all there is like an ultimate, like unconditional love kind of sounding relationship. You know what I mean? So really tapping into that, just like allowing yourself to, honestly, this reminds me of again, the concept of your worth. Just like be open to the fact that there are relationships like this where you can have people in your life who are clearly in tune, tapped in, woke, whatever you want to call it. The mental line is saying, yeah, the beauty of, or rather, I should just switch them. It's like weird. I'm saying them backwards, but I should just switch the cards. Get to the heart of the beauty of philanthropy. So this is kind of like talking about if you've ever had an interest in like philanthropy of any way, shape, or form. This could be another thing that helps your heart, helps your, helps with integrity building, building goals and things like that. And then that's a mental thing. And then with the physical, it's saying, it's interesting. It's do or die is the first card because it's Pluto, but it's kind of talking about like you really need to really focus on the message on this one. So it has to do with keeping your involvements with your partners hidden. So it's actually funny because I was getting this message before, as well, where I was the one always going to everyone in my circle and going like, well, what do you think of him? What do you think of this guy? Like my new guy. And like I was always seeking everyone else's opinions about my relationship, when spirit is now saying, but you've been putting a lot of effort towards yourself. So if you are this group, I was saying this could go either way. You could be doing all the work, or you could not be doing the work and you're still hesitant. But like I'm for the people who are, I'm getting at this point where it's like you're in tune though. Like your intuition is strong. You can actually set your sights really high because spirit's actually going to bring that to you. And then you're not going to really have to worry. And then you actually should probably not include the opinions of others because it might derail you. In fact, like sometimes sometimes you have people, you can go to them because they're going to give you good, solid advice. But sometimes you have the people who are just not as woke as you are, or they're just not on your journey. They're not, and they don't understand where you are with respect to the relationships you're building. And sometimes people are just jealous, even if they're like your good bestest friend in the whole world. Like everybody has a moment. So I think, yeah, if you can relate to this message, they're saying, and if you're looking for a union, the message is keep this kind of to yourself for a while, just for a little while, till things settle. Then you can be like, oh yeah, we've been together for like 2 months, and everyone's like, oh, this is serious. Okay, we ready to meet him, and yeah. So the cards are, oh yes, courage. Live your life fearlessly with courage, strength, and determination, which I love. And it feels really tied in with the fact that you're going to be receiving a lot of abundance and prosperity because you're working hard. Signs is another card. The universe has been sending you signs. They've been gently nudging you forward. So yeah, just pay close attention to the synchronicities that are happening. Celebration, which makes a lot of sense because, like I said, you have this, it's like the Six of Wands. This is the card of prosperity. What is this? Material and spiritual prosperity. Yeah, so it's no surprise you have celebration. It says celebrate your achievements. You truly are a gift to us and to the universe. And then lastly, it's inner worlds, which is the 12th house. Because remember, I said if the first house is who you are, the 12th house is like who you are inside, like your hidden side. Um, in our worlds, the message is saying your external world is a reflection of your inner world. So again, just keep high vibrational thoughts flowing through you. Don't let anybody, yeah, it's like, yeah, the last sentence with these cards was saying like with you, with your partner, partnerships, relationships, situationships, sometimes you just need to keep these involvements hidden for a little while. It's like for safety reasons, you know what I'm saying? Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna be given more gifts, like more things are coming to you. You're gonna be pretty, you're gonna probably feel really abundant and successful pretty soon, group 3. So yeah, and your inner world is going to be reflecting what you've been thinking, what you've been putting your energy towards, like the goals and things you want to manifest and your intentions. So just keep that going. You're going to be really, really successful. So that's it. That's the last one. And we are donesies. All right. So I'm actually just going to stop the record.